Hey Tristan, how you doing?
Hey Carlo, what's that?
Oh, just getting back to sculpting here on Saturday. Um,
hmm
how was your sculpting this week? Did you get anything
Oh,
get done?
it was good. It was good. I got some good progress on my commissions and uh got even more progress I think on some of my personal projects.
Okay, cool. So this week we're just gonna do the same thing we do every week, which is I'm gonna look back on the sculpts we did last week and talk about
Mm-hmm.
things that I'd like to do, and then things that you know I don't know. We'll just talk about the sculpt a little bit.
All
So
right.
I think your guy pretty much ended up where it was last week. I did a few little things to my guy. We're gonna click on him right now,
Mm.
um, and like my monitor. Let's see, did it share it? There we go. All right,
A bit
so
small through your monitor or
yeah,
your screen.
I think it's behind a second because uh, it's not updating. Trying to track this on YouTube at the same time,
Mm.
and so far either my thing is froze. Is it moving on screen for you?
I don't see anything.
No movement.
Mm-mm.
That's weird.
Maybe like quit straight sharing your screen real quick and then reshare it.
Yeah. All right. We'll go back off. We'll go back on. That is strange. Is it moving yet?
It still looks the same. Honestly, I didn't even see you like take the stream off. Okay, there it goes.
We'll go to all of us. Yeah, it's froze. I'm gonna close this out and then reload it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was. Okay, yeah.
Um, Share screen window. This one.
Did we post a link?
Yeah, we have technical difficulties.
Okay.
Window. I have no idea why this is happening. I can't even get off of the screen. Why is this happening?
uh, you're you're gone. You're not. I don't hear you or see you. Okay, so until Carlo can get that figured out, I guess we're gonna be doing our own renditions of He-Man and Skeletor. Carlo's gonna do He-Man, and I'm gonna do uh, Skeletech from the new season of He-Man or Masters of the Universe Revolution. Um, Now they've watched more of it than I have. I've only seen the first episode, but I did get to get a good look of uh Skeletech, and um I think there's some really cool things I can do with that, especially if we're going by just kind of like how the the story was going in the show. I really like the idea of like the tech cult, so I might try and play a bit more on that and see if I can like get a mix between a little bit of like classic Skeletor with some like cyber enhancements, but maybe also like throw in some like like cybernetic occult type uh designs in there. I don't really know what that's gonna look like, but I think that'll be really cool.
So when we're talking about the design of the character, did you think that they pushed it as far as they should have pushed it, or do you think that it could have been more?
Well, just from what I saw of the first episode, I think they pushed it a fair bit. Um, at least just for, base Skeletor of that season.
I disagree. I don't think they pushed it at all. I think it basically looked like Skeletor with a glowy eye and a metal chin. Because the one side that was all teched up was actually underneath the hood in most of the
Yeah.
shots. So you just saw a Skeletor face with this little like chin. So I
Yeah, they
guess,
probably could have showed that. Like showed the other side of his head a bit more instead of
well,
like
why
having
don't
it
you
covered
do
up.
that with your sculpt then, right? So why don't you go ahead and don't do the hood, right? And
Hmm.
kind of like how like some of the toy lines have additional hoods that you can slip on, which whether they're plastic or printed or whether they're the fabric. But
Hmm.
I'd say on yours, just go ahead and do the whole head if you want to give them microchips, and stuff
Yeah.
in
You,
the
you
head.
know, you know what I might do? I might have like on the back of his head, like if we're kind of going the route of like a switchable hood,
Yeah,
maybe have some designs on the back of his head of uh like somewhat like runic designs, but instead of them being like actual like runic designs, it's like binary code.
yeah,
So
like
they got like ones and zeros and stuff like
Matrix
that.
code running down his forehead. That'd be
Yeah.
cool if you like sunk it in. You could do like a reverse wash almost, like so like it'd be sunk in with the greens or the blues or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know if I'm going to be able to share my screen, but go ahead and share your screen. Do you have your ZBrush up yet?
I do.
Okay, share your screen. While you're going, I'll talk and see if I can figure this out. But I share screen and it crashes. So
Hmm.
uh, you're shared now. I'm going to try to do He-Man if I can get mine up and running. So we'll just watch you work for a little bit and. Here we go, Skeletech. Now, easily with Skeletech, you could import the standard ZBrush skull, but that's not
Yeah,
really that fun, right?
I thought about doing that, but
You
yeah,
get
you're
further
kind of
along, it
right.
looks
It's
better,
just not.
but yeah,
Huh?
that's not what we're looking to do. We're just looking to repetitively sculpt some stuff quick and just get, different because as much as you I guess almost like it's cheating because like if it was a skull that we sculpted and we have also sculpted multiple skulls in the past. So even though we could bring in one of our other skulls that we've sculpted, it's I think more fun to watch it work from a ball at least.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely. I'm
I'm
not
gonna
doing the same thing. I'm not doing it the same way that I did the other
yeah, you're
wigs.
already I mean you're basically at that shape already that you did
Yeah,
the
it
other
just
way.
doing it the same way is just kind of
Monotonous
yeah, a
almost.
little bit. So
Okay.
yeah, I just kind of want to get right into the shape building
Yeah,
of it.
before and you know what? We might do a series on this, because like there's a lot of Motu characters that are really appealing and we could really put our spins on. Um, I think that, not that we'll even, like I said, any of these heads, we won't necessarily offer them for sale anywhere, but this is just a bit
Mm,
of us practicing and just pushing the art, you know what I mean? Like not everything that we do as artists will be for sale eventually, and
yeah.
sometimes they're personal projects, sometimes it's just, content that, we're getting videos out of or whatever. So
Mm.
um, you're still cutting in the skull the same way, it looks like, that you do your regular head, right?
For the most part, except now I'm like really cutting into the cheeks here
you're gonna
because
you're gonna append a different sphere to make the jaw out of.
yeah, I was thinking about like potentially like doing something else with the lower jaw, like not having it be like quite the same because I don't really know exactly like what I would want to do other than just give him a metal jaw. But I don't really want to do that because I think that's kind of boring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've already done it with Trapjaw, and I think
Yeah,
that's
Trap Jaw.
maybe.
They did it with Skeletor in the show.
Yeah, I got you. What if you did a metal top and then a bone jaw? That's all that's left of his, yeah, his skull is the bone jaw.
Yeah.
All right. Well, currently it's looking like the alien from Alien Resurrection. I think that thing was ugly, man. That I don't know why that creeped me out so much. Maybe because it showed it being born. It's super. Did you ever watch that one?
I
I think.
watched that movie for like the first time, like maybe like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I don't know like why I never watched it before because like I grew up watching pretty much every other Alien movie
Hmm.
except for that one. Um, but I think what the thing that like kind of kept me from watching it, and like this is something that you know like I've been guilty of with like multiple different things. Is like I heard it was so terrible, and I just had no interest in watching it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, they did a couple good things in that one, actually. I think they utilized the 3D aliens from a distance really well. Now, I
Hmm.
haven't watched that movie since it came out, so that's been over 25 years probably. You know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah,
what year it came out, but I did like watch them aliens crawl up on the outside of the ship, and it really gave you a peek into where 3D animation would,
been
eventually get
going at the
to.
time.
Well, eventually get to. It was like your first, like, oh, these things are running around the environment. It looks like, I don't know if it still looks believable, but at the time, it looked believable.
Yeah. Um, that movie was really weird. Like even as like a movie I was going into like with no little to no expectations. Um, it was very weird. Like it was almost like comedic at times, which was like very different than the other films, you know.
Yeah,
It- and I wasn't expecting to see Ron Perlman in that movie either.
yeah. I couldn't even tell you that Ron Perlman was in the movie. I don't know who he was at that point in time. I remember I didn't like him, which is pretty much the role he was playing. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I'm stuck again on this thing. I can't figure it out. Every time I go to share my screen, it it freezes where usually I double click it, and now I can't back out of the share screen thing. And I have no idea why this is happening.
Hmm. Maybe like back out of the stream
Well,
and
that's what I've
then
done. That's why I disappear every time. Disappeared like twice.
have you like turned off your computer and turned it back on?
Okay,
It,
well I was
it,
able to get out. I was able to get out of that screen.
they say
Uh,
that's the first step of fixing any computer issue.
right. Okay. Uh, we're back on me again. Okay, so at least I'm there. We'll go back to you. Okay, I can at least start sculpting now.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, so enough talk about the aliens. Yeah. Well, just one more thing. I guess I'll talk about. I found it really creepy how they cloned Ripley and all the different iterations of the half her, half alien, because in the DNA, the two bloods were mixed together. So, like,
Yeah,
a couple of those things were really weird looking, which was cool from, I mean, whoever got to sculpt those. And we're talking as sculptors now, like, whoever got to sculpt those on set was like, it's got to be a dream. Like, what are you doing? I'm half human, half alien hybrid thing. But that would be real fun to do.
imagine if they had had like the 3D scan technology at the time to like scan Sigourney Weaver and then just
Well, the
like
thing about it is,
totally alter her.
well, the thing about it is, like, they took like casts of her head. So they had her actual head, and then basically they sculpted her with clay into the alien, So
Yeah.
all right, so it's already looking like a skull. You got that knocked out pretty quick. What's it? We've been on screen for something creaking in the background. So all right, so you're drawing in the teeth. And again, you're just drawing them in rather than modeling a tooth and then sticking it in there, like we talked about the last time.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna move them out quite a bit more.
I'll give them a chromed out grill. Skeletor with a chromed out grill.
That'd be kind of cool.
No.
Again, did you post a link to this? Because I didn't see one on our page.
On the Instagram or on the?
I looked on the Facebook.
Yeah, I think I did.
I didn't see a link posted, or at least on our Facebook page, like the Immortal Collections page.
Right, I'm gonna look at that now. Yeah, it's there. It's the blue link at the bottom.
Mm.
See, it's blue.
Oh, okay. So you just posted it with an image of last week's.
Yeah, I mean, and then you don't know how to do that on YouTube or on Instagram, so it's whatever. Nobody's here again, but that's okay. This is just us trying to sculpt and get better. All right, so I'm gonna click over to me, and
in the meantime, I'm gonna thin out some of these forms.
Yeah, you could really push it. I mean, again, he's a skull, but he's more of a demonic cyber type of skull guy. So you could really push your proportions if you wanted to. And I'll have the task of modeling the super difficult He-Man head. Every time I see somebody do it, like there's things about it I like and there's things about it I don't like. And it's real difficult because like everybody knows what it looked like. I pulled up some pictures to add to the stream again, and I still couldn't figure out how to get that to work beforehand. So I will just hey, what does my screen look on? Why is this white on the screen as I'm sharing it? Is it froze?
Let me see it.
Is the YouTube looks like it's froze.
Are you doing anything right now? Like move your thing across the screen. Like, are you sculpting right now?
Yeah, I mean, I know YouTube's behind.
Yeah, no, all I see is a ball.
Yeah. And that's what happened the last time I shared it.
Yeah, all I see
is back to you. We'll go back to you.
You gotta love when technology just
like the last 3 weeks
doesn't want to work.
The last 3 weeks it worked just fine. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, I have the same experience when working with ZBrush all the time.
Right. Well, I'll still sculpt mine out even though we can't see it, and then hopefully I'll be able to bring it back and at least eventually get it to do something. One thing I noticed with He-Man, and I can't show it on mine, but like he's got like a square strong jaw, and a lot of the cartoon guys don't get that strong enough. And I don't want to say cartoon guys, but the sculptors. Like if you look at the Horseman sculpt when they did the He-Man, it still looked similar to the original toy line, but it was more of a stylized or I guess anime in this newer Revolution and Revelation.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of just like where.
And I also a lot of people's gripes with it, I guess, would be, it's too small. Like the head was too small.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if we get these on a toy, I think it'd be a good idea to like size them up a little bit.
Yeah.
I swear this thing is. I probably should restart my computer because this thing's doing all kinds of stuff that it should not be doing.
I definitely would.
Let's see, just for a bit, just for a bit, if it'll work with me here.
What else is it doing?
Well, my draw size isn't changing when I go to change my draw size on ZBrush.
Hmm. Like when you adjust it manually, like on the slider.
Yeah, like it won't let me work in real time on the slider with the pen, but then when I click it with the mouse, it works fine.
It could be an issue with your pen.
It could.
I don't know. That's weird.
Well, last week I was doing it differently, and then we broke the plug on the other thing. So we'll see. So what about going through like master stuff? Would you want to go through them and like do a merman or do a beastman or all that stuff?
I mean, yeah, that would be cool. I always really liked Merman. I think he's a cool character, and I've seen a lot of iterations of him that kind of like resemble like a creature from the Black Lagoon type.
Now they call him. Do they call him Gillman? Is that the same thing that they call Gillman sometimes?
What?
The creature from the Black Lagoon.
I don't.
You never heard him referred to as Gillman?
Yeah, in the movies. I mean, maybe in the later ones. I'm not sure because I haven't quite gotten to those yet. But because like you have like the Return of the Creature, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. And I think they always just kind of refer to him as the creature.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, going back to what I was talking about earlier, and again we go back and forth. Like the He-Man face from the toy is so iconic that you either copy that exactly and then you just have that version of the face bigger. I think it's hard for them to adjust it a little bit while still keeping the essence of the character because it'll look like something different. So that's the hard thing for me with the He-Man sculpt is you want to make the jaw strong. I mean, even if you go into like Dolph Lundgren, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he has a certain look to him, and I think he fit He-Man very well as far as looks wise. Like it was believable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What about? And I wish we could talk about like Revelations. I guess we can't do Revolutions. I guess we can't really do spoilers on that because you haven't seen it. But I was hoping you would get through that before we get through. But I'm like, you know what? We always talk about how like maybe we'll get more eyes on stuff if we do culturally relevant pieces. I guess like we talked about in the past. Like if there's a Batman movie out, just go ahead and do a Batman head, even though like characters that are existing aren't really that much fun for me to do. Like I like
they're not the most fun for me either.
I mean, there are characters like I would love to sculpt, and I'm sure we will do like Venom or Carnage or the variations of such.
Yeah, I mean, like I won't say that there aren't any like existing characters or creatures that I don't want to do. But I think the thing for me has always been like I hate doing things that are like the trend right now,
Yeah, but like, I mean, if you're looking to get people looking at you, that's what you got to do. So there's the catch-22.
Yeah, that's always just kind of the unfortunate.
Let me see if my screen will share again. Let me know. Oh no, it's still at the ball.
Yeah, still all I see.
All right, let me see if I can do it like this. Maybe we can trick it. So maybe I will. Share screen window. How about that? Is that on there now?
Oh, I see it now. I actually even see your mouse now.
Is it moving in real time?
I mean, I saw you adjust the size of your screen, but are you doing anything right now?
Like right now, I am.
I don't see it now.
So I guess we'll just do still images of what I have at a little bit of time.
I guess.
You. Okay, we'll go back to you. It'd be neat if you just kept one eye a ball like that, though, because it's like I don't know what he had in the show.
He had like kind of
Was
like
there
a
skin in the inside and
no. He had like kind of like a pupil, but
on the one side or on both
uh,
sides?
on the one side, the other side was like just like a plate that had like oh shoot. The other side was like a plate that like had like two different like eye things coming off of it. I'm gonna do something a little bit different than that, but I wanted
Yeah,
I huh?
don't copy it exact. Like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna copy it exactly. I think uh I think this is just kind of one of those pieces where it's like not really sure where to go with it
mhm.
because Skeletor is a very like distinct character, and if I stray too far, then I feel like he's not gonna read. And
Well,
the other hard thing is like we talked about like maybe skipping out on the hood or having the hood out, but the hood is really like a big part of Skeletor's character. It's like a defining feature is his hood, you know.
yeah, I guess that's why they didn't stray so far into it in the show. You know what I mean? Like that's why
Yeah.
they kept it the same. But what could you do to the hood if you don't want to? I guess stray too far. What could you do to the hood to make it just not the same old, same old? You know,
Yeah.
it's probably a good thing that we're not sharing my screen at the moment because it's not really looking too great.
I
Uh,
mean, all I have is a skull right now.
I
An
mean,
angry skull right now.
well, you're halfway there then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you can get through the skull,
Maybe I need to like just make the hood sooner rather than later so I can just kind of get a better feel for what I'm doing.
okay. So let's say you have your hood, like you know how you did the bird sculpt, the original bird sculpt you did before we started doing the Legion stuff.
Mhm.
Your statue, do it all ratty and tore up like that because this hood is like techie, right?
Mhm.
Almost like you could remember Megatron from that one movie, how he was like a robot, but he had that cape, that
Yeah.
cape around him or whatever. So you could do something along those lines.
Something I kind of hate about ZBrush sometimes is like they they have buttons that like serve a certain function, right? But if you hit those buttons in like a certain way or like a certain combination, it starts to bring up like menus that I don't want up, and it happens so fast, and I accidentally like end up changing my focal shifts or my draw size or something like that, and it really just messes me up.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of things that I'm not used to on ZBrush at the moment because you got me this newer one. So there's like I'm doing stuff that I don't understand why it's happening a lot. So I'll
Yeah.
eventually I'll eventually figure it all out. It's just such a I don't know the word for it, like sophisticated program, and
It's a
It's
it's a complex. Well, I don't even know if it's right to say that it's like a complex program. It's just a very cluttered program.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, not
the
not
complaint. What's
not
that?
easy to use.
Yeah, the
There's
complaint
a
I've always heard from people.
intuitive.
Like
Is
I
that the
went
word we're
to.
looking for? It's not intuitive.
Yeah, probably. The
Yeah,
complaint I always got from people like in college and even just people in general who tried using the software is that like the UI is just very like not user friendly.
yeah.
It's not a user friendly software really by any means. Um so it's like people who are just getting into it like really got to dedicate some time to like figuring it out, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of what draws a lot of people away from using it.
Well, I've used other programs that are very similar, and the buttons are right where they need to be, and it makes sense. But I mean, the thing is when they started out, and we've been using ZBrush for over 10 years now. From ZBrush 2 or whatever it was the first one I downloaded for free, and it's very similar to that same UI. So it's like just like with video games and them changing controller buttons. It's like people who've been using it understand it, and then the new people might not like it, but you have a whole user base that's been using it for however many years.
Right. And it kind of sucks when there aren't a whole lot of other like alternatives. I mean, Blender has gotten better over the years with their sculpting capabilities.
Yeah,
Um but I mean like I'm kind of at the point where I've dedicated so much time learning ZBrush that I don't think I can move to a different software.
never switch, right?
I mean, unless maybe like say like ZBrush or Maxon or something did something that like really bothered me with the software.
Like with
And
licensing or whatever. Like
yeah, something.
so now you have to pay for the new version every year, right? Is that what I
Yeah,
understand?
that kind of sucks. That almost got me there.
So the deal was is before, like I had, a program for, well, we have it for like 5, 6 years where every time they updated it, you automatically got the free update, right?
Yeah, we had that for a long time, but that was something that they never. They always made a point to say that that was something that could change at any time.
Yeah. Well, of course, if they're selling, you know what I mean? If they're selling the program.
Yeah. So like that was never like a completely like promised thing. It's just when it got time for them to do that, a lot of people were still just not very happy about it. Which is, I mean, I think understandable because
Right.
you built an entire they built an entire
All right. Is my guy on
community that
screen
was
now?
used to, huh?
Is my is my guy on screen now?
Yeah, and I actually saw it
Is it
moving for a
moving?
second, but
For a
now it's
second,
not.
right? Now it stopped. All right. Well, we'll just talk about what I'm trying to do here. It's still frame. So the big thing about He-Man is he has that muscly um, around his lips. Again, I don't know what that muscle is. I think eventually I'll figure out all the names of these muscles. But almost the meaty part of the mouth, like Arnold Schwarzenegger had, and like some of these bodybuilders that are juicing it. They develop that around the mandibles, that little.
Mm,
So I guess the Power Grayskull would pop that out a little bit. His jaw, I have it pretty square, pretty, I guess, longer, not as long as like something like Thanos would be in the
mm,
Hulk. I think their jaw looks longer because their nose is thinner. So, and again, this doesn't look great right now. I'm just trying to figure out what makes He-Man He-Man, and then go from there. You know what I mean? So I wanted to capture that feature and the lips, and then right now I have these eyeballs masked off. I'm gonna do the eyeball step next, and maybe add some ears. It
mm.
looks good from that front view. The side view is a wreck, so I'm gonna work on the side view next. So we'll go back to your Skeletor. I see you got the hood on now, and that's already looking very Skeletor-ish.
Yeah.
What about like we talked about that goblin hood in the back? You could give him a goblin type of hood in the back where it's like the Green Goblins thing.
Yeah.
Could be a thing you look at.
Like, oops, that's not what I wanted to move. Like,
Yeah, something like that. Like I don't know if he has that in the show or not, but that just
it,
changes it up a little bit, you know.
yeah. I mean, it gives it a nice shape.
You know, we talked about putting like circuitry around the hood or around the corner of the hood or some type of.
I was like thinking about different things I could do, and like it'd be kind of cool to have like inside the hood, just like a ton of like tubes and wires, just like connecting to the skull.
Yeah. So what is tech? I think that's what my issue with, and it wasn't a huge issue, but with the show is it looked too much just like Skeletor. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
how do you tech it up? Do you put like tubes going through like the nose and the eyes? Do you have one like, you know, like snakes wrap through eyes or snakes wrap through skulls? Like you
Oh,
could have tubes.
that's a cool idea actually. I didn't like maybe having like a ton of tubes just like plugging into like the one eye socket.
Yeah. You know how I did that Cyberoni jaw? I mean, that's another thing you could do is you could do some type of breathing apparatus to make it look more techy. You could
Yeah.
do you know, right where the beneath the nose, how you have those built up underneath that, you could do like a tube between the teeth and the bottom of the nose, the little
Mm-hmm.
bumps you have. You could probably do those with some sort of ridges or something. And again, the guy from the show has plating on them, so then I guess you could figure out where your panels would be because you're probably going to add panels to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you can do with yours is you could do like around the one corner of the cheek, you can make that a sharper, more metal like representation of, you know, the jaw. If you look at me, you're like right here on screen,
Mm-hmm.
like right here, like that could be pointed. It could almost be a plate like this with, you know, you can make that look real cyber or real Terminator like.
Yeah.
That would be cool. So
Mm.
I'm gonna go back to mine and just kind of work through it. So just without ruining the show because you haven't watched the show and whoever watches this might want not want to get spoiled or whatever. Um, I really liked from the cover you seen Green Tila, right?
Yeah.
So I like Green Tila. I like what they did with that. I felt like Evelyn was in the show again, and I liked her role in this show. Overall, I think everybody enjoyed this a lot better than the
First season.
Revelations, the first seasons. I guess this is like the second season. I mean, they called it something different, so but it's a continuation of that first season. I think
Right.
in general everybody liked it a lot more. I think it's what everybody was hoping for this first season. And again,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's, I guess, who had beef, and I did not enjoy it as much as I'd like to have the first season, and I knew what it was going to be, you know, just because people leaked it or whatever. But like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the Tila story, like you wait 15 years for the thing to come back and everybody's expecting He-Man. And after that first episode, you got the He-Man show that you were like, oh my gosh, we're going to get all of this, you know, and then it changed like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
drastically.
I could see how like fans would feel that it was a bit of a rug pull at the time.
Now you haven't been super into the Motu stuff, you know. I think we watched 2000X maybe like very minimal when you were younger. And if
Yeah,
you look through
I don't really remember like Motu I don't really remember that one very well.
right.
Um I think at that time, like I remember oops. Okay.
Well, Thundercats came out when you were in your teens, right?
Yeah,
Was that
that's the one. That's the one that I really remember is like when they came out with like the newer
Wi-Fi
Thundercats.
Mumra?
Huh?
I find it funny that Mumra, it was like Tech Mumra on that now, and now we have Skeletech. It's like, hey, this is
Oh yeah.
popular technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mumra had his Mumra Tech Tank, whatever. It was like the Thunder Tank, but Mumra's. I'm just
Right.
the one.
Well,
Go ahead.
I will say like I really enjoyed the whole like tech cult thing. I thought that was a really interesting direction for them to go,
And
especially with
this,
like
and this, are we're moving back to He-Man?
yeah, just with He-Man, right? Like we're talking about like how like they both kind of did like a tech thing. I feel like the addition of like the tech cult was a nice way for it to be a bit different than kind of how they did it with say like the Thundercats. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the thing about the tech cult is it was all a prelude to the Hordak storyline. So,
Yeah.
um, and since you didn't watch it, I won't say what all happened. But basically, yeah, He-Man's always been tech and sorcery kind of combined. So it fit really well. It brought it in. It brought the Hordak theme in.
You know,
Um,
with that like yeah, you just going back to like, you know, doing a series of these characters. Um I would really want to do Triclops
yeah,
because that like last season like actually really made me like Triclops.
yeah, he didn't get much time this season, if
That's
any.
unfortunate.
Yeah. Um, and that's my critique on this season too is like they spent a lot of time in certain areas and you didn't really get some of the older characters that you'd like to see have more time. And with the He-Man episodes from Filmation back in the day, they didn't get a lot of screen time. Like there might have been a Merman episode,
Hmm.
here and there, or other characters. I feel like the Goons never really get that much time, but even I get the heroes that they had, like Ram Man and stuff, like they had their moments in the show, like from the first episode that we can talk about. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They had their moments in the show the whole time, but they were just moments. There wasn't a whole lot of, and I realized they got like 30 plus characters that they could um, go into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like it balanced out pretty good. You got enough He-Man, you got enough Tila, you got enough Skeletor. Evelyn was in there a little bit, not as much as she was in last season. I think it wasn't focused around her, but I you know I will say that they did the Granomir dragon, which I don't
Hmm.
know if you know who that is, but you went to the Horseman Studios, you saw that dragon that they sculpted. It was like a pot belly
Oh yeah.
thing. It looked different than it used to, but I liked it. It had more of your typical dragon kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that storyline paid off pretty good with that character and how all that went out. But I don't know if you saw any of the final, I guess, wardrobe. Again, I think Skella Tech evolved once. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think his evolution was not as extreme as it would have been, and that's kind of like why I wanted to sculpt these with you. I thought He-Man's evolution, I thought like his final outfit or whatever he had, I think was all right, but he pretty much had a hair back and a ponytail kind of head. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
just not really like the outfit itself was really cool. Well, you seen Nate's image of him kissing Tila, right?
Yeah, I did see that.
It was that outfit. So I mean, the
Okay.
outfit was cool. I think there could have been more going on. Like he could have like a crown or something a little
Uh-huh.
bit different than what he ended up with at the end. But it was cool. I like the outfit. They used the symbol from the other animated toy line in it, so they
I
kind of brought that in.
Yeah, I think I saw that as well.
Well, Tristan, I really like my stuff the last couple of weeks. I'm not liking this so much. Partially, I
Yeah,
think partially because I moved back to my the tablet that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like struggling with my draw size, so I'm like having to click 4 or 5 times with that. But
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar place. I'm just not really feeling this guy at all.
well, it's looking like a skull. You know what I mean? You got
I
the
mean,
skull part,
at least it looks like a skull, you know. But
and it's soft. I mean, you could
as
definitely.
far as like the character of Skeletor, I'm not feeling it.
Well, just I mean, I'm looking at it, so
I mean, I'm giving it my best, you know. I'm
right there on the side of the head. Yeah, there you are. Are you putting that's like a chip or something you're gonna put on? Just start teching it out. You know, I think when I'm stuck with something, um, when I'm stuck with something, you kind of just gotta throw spaghetti on the wall. I think with your guy there, the tubes are gonna make it, you know, similar or more exciting, more interesting. I think you could do a plate on the forehead. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well, I mean, there's gonna be, I think probably like most of this side, I think is gonna be, or like just like the entire like half of his head is gonna be like cybernetic in some way.
like some Terminator stuff.
Yeah, you know, I was kind of thinking it'd be kind of cool to do something like uh what was it? What was that one game? Um where the character had like a skull head, but he didn't have a lower jaw. What is it?
Yeah, I remember the game.
So like something of Cain or something, right? Like
Well,
Rising of
no, yeah, I think
Cain or
yeah, that's Soul Reaver. I think what you're
yeah,
talking
Soul
about.
Reaver.
I was
That's what
thinking
it was.
about something else, but yeah, that was one of them. I accidentally gave him the Rock's nose. I accidentally gave He-Man the Rock's nose, so I gotta stop that because I mean, He-Man traditionally has been Caucasian, so maybe we'll try to give him more of a pointed nose. That's the thing with I think with sculpting is you can see other things in your sculpts a lot that you don't intend, and you either run with it or you don't run with it.
hmm
Like I could abandon this and just turn this guy into the Rock. You know what I mean? And in
Yeah.
fact, what do I always say to do? If you see something happening, go ahead and export that and name that export like Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I could figure this out just a little bit more. Okay.
But again, if you look at what I was trying to do there, right, it looks like The Rock because I added those muscly features in that strong jaw. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, a strong. If you're looking at a strong face will look like a strong face, and you'll identify that strong face with other people with the strong face look, like the strong jaw and blah 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 blah. If you're looking at a pretty male face, right? A pretty male face would look like Tom Cruise or whoever else's Brad Pitt, whoever would fit that, you know, perfect face diagram that we look at sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not so caught up on getting so much of this. I want this particular face look a certain way. It's more of getting those proportions in there to say, well, let's just see what this strong jaw or head would look like, and I'll call it He-Man. You know, because he's fictional. It's not like Abraham Lincoln. I can't go find this is what Abraham Lincoln's supposed to look like.
Right.
There's no, you know. I did share this one almost it really did look like the best original toy version, or not toy version, but the cartoon version. It looked
Hmm.
like the best representation of the cartoon version in digital form, like even more so than the newer Origins toys. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we're pretty probably working off of scans from that, but it really did feel like the OG cartoon. I can't share that because my computer is all messed up and I don't want to reset it. So, um,
Understandable.
what's that?
I said understandable.
Right. Um, oh, there's a tube. There's a tube through the. Yeah, I think that works. Like, I think that works. We'll go with that
Yeah,
one.
I think so. I think so too. I tried using like the IMM tube brush, and I have such a hard time using those brushes, man, because they do not like to cooperate.
Oh, okay.
Just like the IMM brushes in general. Like I
Yeah.
use them for very specific things that I like know are gonna work.
Okay.
But just like trying to place like a tube like this
Right.
on like a skull or a complex shape, it doesn't like to work ever.
Okay.
Although maybe I could do it with these smaller tubes. Let's try it one more time. Stroke, lock start. And nobody's in here today.
Nah. Well, I haven't been promoting. I figured we would just get comfortable with this whole process before people come along. And again,
Yeah.
we talked about just having a back catalog or something. So eventually, I'll cut these all together and kind of make a like a reel or maybe some other videos.
A reel would probably be pretty good. Like doing like just turning these into reels.
Yeah.
Or maybe just like things that you can put on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I guess the thing about YouTube, it's like you got to have an audience, you got to grow an audience, but you got to have these first, few.
Well, that's the thing about YouTube. That's not necessarily the same. That doesn't necessarily apply with other platforms though. You know, like TikTok. Like if we put these on like TikTok and whatnot, they would absolutely probably get a lot more traction. Just as the
Absolutely,
short,
absolutely, probably get a lot more traction.
well, it's just like as the short form content that
Yeah,
like we're making it. You
yeah,
know,
it's all just the time thing, though, isn't it? It's like
yeah.
we're trying to carve out a couple hours today. Now I'm trying to figure out if I give him a butt chin or not.
A butt chin.
Not butt chin, but just a little dimple in the chin. I'm looking back and forth.
I mean, I always like doing stuff like that. I always think that's a fun to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I kind of like where that's going a little bit.
Yeah. That's all right.
Maybe I could like kind of carve out his cranium here and turn that into something.
I'm trying to do my sculpt today without doing Sculptress Pro. So I'm just trying to, because it was pretty low poly to begin with. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to increase my polys from the regular sphere and see if that'll, I guess, again, just trying to do it differently every week. Just kind of seeing if I can figure a better workflow for myself.
Right.
My polygons are pretty even so far. I think a face doesn't deform as much as like hands or anything else that you would sculpt a face
Mm-hmm.
feature. I'm gonna try to get these eyeballs set in the eyes, and I'll see if I go back to the share screen and if it'll do anything. It might be the time of day that we're doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I if I'm being honest, I'm a little low energy right now as
But
well. So like,
that's the other thing. We probably are not too entertaining at the moment.
yeah, I've got. I mean, we've just been talking. That's pretty much all that a lot of people do. We talked about He-Man, talked about what
Other stuff.
Alien and whatnot. Like we could have. I mean, could have kept going on a lot of that stuff. Just talking about stuff.
Yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my gosh. I pulled his head up a little bit and it gave it the perfect rock head shape too. I
That's
fixed the
funny.
nose so it didn't look like the rock, and I'm like, oh, I make this move right here, and he's back to being the rock again. Put your hood back on so I can see it with your hood on it.
Hold on. Like a very key part here. Kind of what I want to do. Oops. I don't have my symmetry on. It's really want
Ooh, I like that.
Huh?
It's like you got the middle of his head carved out. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and then do some stuff like this. Probably won't be able to see it too much with the hood on, but I mean, I'm gonna make a lot of adjustments to the hood because like I've got like these metal plates are already like sticking out.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Oh, it's another thing I probably could have looked at.
What's that?
Um, and I'm gonna share my other screen for a second.
Will it stay there? Or just flick over while you share?
Yeah, share screen window. Just gonna go to the share. They have these guys, and this guy is like really starting to remind me of them. Huh?
You guys sharing yet?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not there. Hold on.
Okay.
That's not
Yeah.
it.
No, this is it. That's it.
Okay.
Let's see. Warhammer 40K Skull. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Yeah, these guys. Um, so these are like what these guys are like people who like essentially get like mortally wounded in combat to the point where they're gonna die. But
Yeah.
instead of like letting them die, uh
They
they
seal their brains in some metal like Ghost in the Shell.
yeah,
That's what right.
they turn them into these little servo skulls to like basically continue to serve the emperor in that form instead of letting them die.
Right, those plug into different bodies or something.
No, they just live like that. Like like helpers, right? Like or
Seems
like
to me like you should just throw them into some robot space marine bodies or whatever and keep on going.
yeah, something like that.
Okay. Well,
But
I
they
mean,
they they just like essentially just assist, commanding officers and
right.
and,
Well,
and stuff
that's
like
kind of
that.
what I thought. If when I imagined what cyber or Skeletech would look like, would be something along those lines. So you could have an antenna coming out of your Skeletor's hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just have a hole poked in the top of the hood, and then just
Oh yeah, and like even when we were talking about like occult like
yeah, runes or tech.
runes and stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty much
And
all
like we
like
said,
Warhammer's about.
everything's been done. Like I don't follow Warhammer, but you know, very similar to
Yeah.
what I said we should do, or very similar to what I thought they would do for
Right.
for Skelegod. So um, let's see if I can get my screen working again.
So I mean, mine's obviously gonna be a lot different, but
Yeah.
like that was. It took me until now to realize, like, this really is like kind of looking familiar.
All right. Am I on screen yet?
Hey, you're on screen and you're moving.
All right. Now, is it full screen or is it little screen?
It looks fuller screen,
Fuller.
and it still hasn't froze yet. So
Okay, maybe if I don't click anything. Okay, so I'm going in right now to these lips with the Damien Standard brush, right?
mhm.
And this is different than what it was. Why is this window looking like that? It's like cutting off my brushes. Uh, talk about some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I'm afraid if I expand it any longer, it'll freeze up again. But I have no choice. I'll switch to Damien Standard. Did it freeze? I'm moving it.
Uh, you're moving it currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it froze.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's try it again. We'll go to you, add you to stage, and then we'll go back to me. Hmm. Sticking your tongue out, son. All right. So I got a little bit of something here that I can work with. So right now I've been coming in here. I've been sculpting these out.
Yeah, you guys showing up too, kind of.
Right. So he's kind of angry. So like I've been just going in here and just kind of figuring this out. These eyes are a little ugly and messed up. From here, oh my gosh, I'm stuck on Damien Standard. I guess I'll just Damien Standard the lips a little bit, but I'm just working on keeping this kind of lip area here intact and trying to cut where the form would be here. I can't really switch brushes right now, so like I've been watching how this upper lip comes over top of the bottom lip here. So this corner of the lip right here is actually inflated over the bottom. So a lot of people don't know when they're sculpting lips, they'll just put a line there and not understand it. But
Yeah.
this area right here needs to be smoothed out a little bit. But you can use the alt and kind of draw in where you want your bottom lip to be and smooth it out and then hold it down again so you can kind of see a more defined lip in that situation. So another thing in here that I want to try to do is not make this too deep because like, you know, I'm in my 40s now and I'm noticing that this crease is getting super deep. So the deeper you make these creases, the more years you're going to add onto the guy. Yeah. So you want to make that crease. And I mean, I would imagine He-Man's in his 20s to 30s. If you look at Prince Adam, he's definitely in his 20s. So we're putting He-Man in the 20s that, you know, as deep as you want to make this crease, probably don't want to make that. So I'm just holding alt. I'm smoothing that out a little bit. And the eyes here, it's not really where I want them to be right now. I would use the other brush, but for some reason I can't switch to that brush without this thing crashing. So what I'll do here is I'll hold alt on the Damien Standard and I'll try to pull the geometry just out with the Damien Standard on this part right here. I'm trying to build up this eyelid. And again, this is not the normal way I build up an eyelid. But you know, if you're stuck with one brush, which you're not ever really stuck with one brush unless you're kind of doing it how I'm doing it now with some technical issue trying to do it live. But to show you, you don't have to really switch all the brushes all the time to push around these vertices in these programs. Like you can just like say, I'm going to try to do the majority of the sculpt with standard or majority of the sculpt with Damien Standard. And then at the end, go back with the very end and switch it to the other brushes. But we talked about that, right? We talked about just using one brush and see what we can come up with before.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Again, everybody has this little area in their eye that kind of goes in right up here. I can't really make this tear duct too well with this Damien Standard. So I think at this point in time, that's where I'm at currently, and a little bit more redefining shape. Do you know how long we've been going? It's been an hour.
It's been an hour.
All right, so there's where we're at, an hour on mine, and I'm going to switch off so I can really use the other brushes and detail it out. Let's see where you're at now, Tristen. So explain what you're doing. I know what you're doing, but explain to other people what you're doing now.
So I kind of thought it'd be cool to like have like a protruding brain or something, but I kind of want it to be like just like a cybernetic brain. And what I'm doing right now, I'm not really super happy with. Honestly, what I might just do is I might just use this as a base and then just start drawing tubes over top of it.
When you originally made that shape, I thought what you were going to do with it was make it some type of like round computer just sitting in the middle of his forehead, almost like it could be like a TV screen in there, or it could be like have a fan in there, like a take fan or something. But you're trying to expose some brain. The funny thing is like what you're doing is kind of like the space version of Skeletor from the New Adventures of He-Man. And I think that's why they made Skeletor not so different, because it would maybe read as that version of Skeletor. So
I
it's
could see
like,
that. If that's the case, then I could see that.
I mean, you can, but they also in toy form have released that one recently, so that could be like an alternate looking head for something like that too. So it's like, just make what you make, go with it. I'm just trying to get something out here and done here in 2 hours, and just see
Yeah.
where you come with it. But I guess what I'm trying to say with when we're doing these streams, don't so much, and I am not even on camera. I probably haven't been on camera this whole time. And I'm dark. Good thing nobody's watching these streams. Yeah. But do you see comment sections anywhere? There's nobody in the comments, right?
There's nobody in the comments right now.
Yeah, the point of this is just to make a decision, go that direction, don't overthink it, don't redo it. You know what I mean? Just find your thing you're going with and then just do it for 2 hours and see what you come up with. And if you want to erase it, do it over, change something later on, we can go ahead and do that. But the 2 hour sculpt limit is for the express purpose of just kind of getting something down. When you're doing noses, because I'm kind of on the guy's nose, do you build that form up with your clay buildup? Because I know you do clay buildup quite a bit. So do you build the nose forms up with clay buildup, or do you use like a standard brush or something else?
So when I'm
shapes.
So what you saw me do the last couple of weekends, with like the like building out the basic head and then pulling out the form that I want to be my nose. That's how I start, and then I do just kind of use the clay buildup to build out like the nostrils and stuff like that.
Okay. And then when it comes down to like fine tuning, do you use the move brush or do you just always go to clay buildup and then smooth it back down?
For what?
For like nostrils, or for like when you have it where you want it to be, but you don't, it's not right where you want it to be. Do you go back to clay buildup and do that again and re-smooth it down, or do you ever use the smooth and move?
If it's like close to where I want it to be, then I'll just use the smooth. But if it's like I'm not really happy with the direction it's going and I kind of want to just like do something a little different, then yeah, I'll rebuild it with the clay buildup.
Okay.
Sorry, this is like what is happening here?
Checking it out. What you're doing? So you go to transparent mode. Is that where you're at right now? You're using transparent mode.
Yeah, I'm going to transparent mode just so I can get like a seamless like transition here, because like if I turn on like ghost, right, even if I'm like just in transparent mode, what'll happen is it'll still contour around the shape that is not a part of the subtool I'm working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to do that. But if you turn on ghost, it pretty much just ignores the other subtools that are in there.
All right. So I think part of the reason why my thing is lagging so much, while I'm having so much of these issues, is because I took that original ball and I just subdivided it, built my forms and subdivided it. And I really think that it's not remeshed. It's not flowing how it should flow. So I think I'm going to try, first of all, and save. And then I'm going to try to remesh the thing to see if I can get better edge flow. And then hopefully from there, this thing won't chunk up too much. And when I'm off screen, I'm just going to restart it because I've never had this much problem.
Yeah, I've never had those kinds of problems with ZBrush before either. But then again, the program really is unpredictable sometimes, and not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very frustrating, in fact. I've had plenty of time to experience all of the headaches that can come with ZBrush.
Yeah, the funny thing is when you're just not on, like when I'm not streaming, like these problems are not that big of an issue because it's just like, well, yeah, whatever.
Right.
But like now I'm making these changes and somebody's gonna come back someday and possibly watch this video and be like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah,
Or
what's this
or
guy
they
doing?
or they suck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying I don't suck. I'm just saying I'm just trying to get through this life and sculpt and enjoy my time here. Just try and enjoy my time. All right, so I'm going to Z remesher this sucker now. Let's see what happens. All right, let's see if we can divide. So I'm
Okay,
back
let's go.
up after. So after I was working at subdivision level 4, had like 700,000 active points. Now I'm down to 176,000 points, which is running far easier than the other one was. So,
Yeah, that's good.
well, how many points do you work at? Where do you try to keep it at?
So like typically I try to keep it under 30 million at least
I'm 30 million
points or active point or total points. I try
total.
to keep it under 30 million total points.
Okay.
Because that's when my system really like starts to struggle.
Yeah.
But like with some of my more recent projects, I've had to go up to at least like 50 million points.
But that's once you're at your desired shape, right? Then you're talking about tertiary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I
You have
suppose.
that when you're blocking in forms. I mean, you're not that heavy, right?
Oh yeah, no. When I'm blocking in forms, I maybe keep it down to like a couple million.
Okay.
Depends. Just depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to keep it super heavy. But once you start adding details, the points add up quickly.
Right. So I go through and I use the move tool to, I guess, probably a lot more than what you would use to adjust the forms. I've been watching people since we started sculpting here. I've been watching how other people sculpt on my free time,
Yeah.
And I look at our workflows and I look at theirs, and I find that it resembles both of our workflows. Like they do use the clay buildup a lot. They do use that masking technique where you used last week to adjust the eyelids differently, I think is what you did. So,
I mean, I'm not saying like I don't use like the move tool or the standard brush. I use it in situations where I feel it's needed.
right. another thing that I find out when I'm sculpting a human face is how much body fat do they have on their face. And I think that's why I felt like it was looking a little like The Rock, is because The Rock's very chiseled. He's low, like not currently is. Back when he was wrestling, like he was bulky. You know what I mean? Like he was trimmed down his bulk, keeping low body fat. So it's like around the face area, it was looking a little rockish. I'm kind of liking my face now a little bit better. I'll probably go in, and when I remeshed it, I lost all my lip stuff that I carved in there. So, there's that whole trick about saving out and reprojecting your detail. But I wasn't super crazy about that stuff to begin with. So, but it's definitely not clunking as much as it used to be. What were we about to say?
I was just gonna say, if you feel comfortable to switch to your screen, I have to step away from my computer for a moment.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see if it'll let me do that. You gotta see what brush I'm on. Present, share screen, window, share. Hey, Tristen. You got to turn off your camera when you leave. Okay, well, it looks like it's working now. So from here, I'm just going to go back into these lips, kind of figure out which form I want to accentuate. Again, the bottom of the lip here is a little bit more. I'll do a little crease in the middle. Guys' lips are generally more tight. And if you can see the edge flow on some of these forms, like it'll flow straight in like that. But I'm just working really small and trying to make these shapes that I know that are in human lips at this stage. And I have it on symmetry, but that little pad of fat that I've talked about before is in there. And if I don't like exactly how that's flowing, you just kind of draw it in there, smooth it out with the shift button, smooth it in there, kind of just going in there. You would have a little bit of this. So there's fat around here on the lips, and there's this little divot on a lot of people, especially when you have a low body fat or you have a more cut face. Again, in here, I'll do this little plume area here just a little bit, and I can accentuate that more. And not your nostrils come around here like this. A lot of people get that wrong when they sculpt. This area right here, I guess, can come in even more. But your nose kind of makes this shape when people come in. So I got to make this I think I had that originally, but it got lost. Inside the nose, I do a little line up here and then shift that down. Some people's noses have kind of a line in the middle there. Mine doesn't, but I think Tristan's and my wife's both have that. I'm not going to give that to him right now. I'm going to come back in here and follow this edge flow around here, kind of tighten that up a little bit. Now that I have it redivided, I can come back through and draw this in a little bit better and cut this line in right here on the eyes. Define the eyelid more. And I'm just going to follow these lines until I kind of have it where I like it. This line's all wobbly around the eye. So I'll hit Alt with the Damien Standard brush and then draw that line in and tighten that up into like an edge, because your eyelid has a ledge right there. You gotta think about the faces and where they're fitting and which direction they're facing. So the eyelid here would come in with a line there. I would sink this part in a little bit more. So you have a defined upper lid. And the bottom, that needs work now too, because you see I got that kind of shape fitting there at the top, but the bottom's erect still. So I'll go back and hold Alt and I'll draw around this area right here as well. And I just go over and over. The corners of these eyes are a little bit different. I might adjust the size of that ball or the eyeball, the actual eyeball in there to fit this face a little bit better. But sometimes you get this right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit. I think in the weeks past, it's been quicker for me. But I'm going to pull this in off screen. But we'll just look at the ears now. So I started these ear shapes, but now I can come in and really define the deep cracks in the ear. And then this area here, everybody's got these basic shapes in their ears, and sometimes we just fake it real quick. I'd have to go to an ear to look. I think it actually does this little loop through here, and then this would be where the dark part right here would be where the actual ear canal goes. So I'll go in there and smooth that out right now. Undo that, shift, smooth that out right there. Maybe I can find the move tool. For some reason, it is not showing on my brushes when I go here. Oh, we got move here. So I'm back over to the move tool. And I'll try to move this stuff in. I don't have my whole screen. I guess we won't do that until Tristen gets back. But I think the next step that I would go to from here is I'm just going to throw some hair on it. I don't know if it's really ready for that yet, but just because I have a half an hour left. Same thing that we did the last time. I'll go to subtool. I'll append a sphere. Take that sphere in there, and I'll move that sphere. Oh, that's the head. I'll select the sphere, move that sphere up here, kind of where the hair would be. And since I'm clicked on the move tool now, we'll go to draw size here. I'll get to it that way. You can get to draw size by holding the shift bar and pulling out, but I'm just going to kind of make this hair go out this way. His final form in the show was a little bit longer hair, I think. Not so much the He-Man. Now look at that. It wasn't symmetrical. Oh, well, hair's not symmetrical anyway. But we'll just take it in like this. I'll smooth that down. This is not fun yet. Okay, this is a disaster. let me smooth this out. So I'm just going to pull this down to somewhat of a hair shape, smooth it out. Just kind of play with it a little bit till I have it kind of resembling a hairdo. Longer hair. Pull that up a little bit. Push that up. Pull that down.
I'm back.
Okay.
Looks like you finally got your thing working in the last quarter of the stream.
Well, no, it's not working correctly. It's working enough to be able to show it while you leave. I couldn't get to my other brushes. Like I couldn't switch from brush to brush. So like I wanted to do something on the eyes that I couldn't do.
I see.
But from this point, yeah, I'll switch back and go to like probably remesh this hair in just a minute, and then mirror it and stuff, kind of bring it out. So
yeah, I think the last little bit here, I'm gonna spend. I think I am gonna give him a jaw, a lower jaw. maybe just not overthink it. Really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go back to your screen now because I'm severely handicapped on what I can do when I'm sharing my screen. So
Yeah.
you should be back. The thing about that head thing is that you lose it when you put that hood over it.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's like a removable piece, won't be on there all the time. And maybe it's pointless to put it, but there it is.
Hey, you got it purple. You're using what I did the last 2 weeks, which is color code your object.
Well, no, it was that was
Oh,
just the poly group.
well, my bad then.
I mean, I probably could this time. Yeah.
Yeah, do yours in color. Just color it up real quick because mine's not at that stage. I'm not even close to being there. I guess I'll do that too. You don't have to do it. I'll do mine.
Man, I'm already kind
You're
of
already
doing it.
there.
Oh, he does not look good like that. That is not what I made him. Oh, I was like, why does he look like that? Nah, he's fine now. Um, object, maybe give him like a green brain. Something. I don't know.
Yeah, that works. I mean, Skeletor's two colors are green and yellow. So
Right.
I'd say that works for sure. Yeah, when they put when He-Man hit his final form, they kind of, I don't want to say made him look Super Saiyan, but like I think his hair got a lot shinier and brighter blonde.
I
I could be
did it.
mistaken. I could be mistaken. Well, he was glowing. He was shimmering. He's like, oh, he's got all the power.
I have the power. Yeah.
You did it. I didn't do it.
Someone had to.
I guess. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to standard brush, and I'm going to start kind of cutting in the hair.
I really need to get rid of the hood in this moment.
Am I selected on this guy? Which one am I on?
Giving Skeletor a chiseled chin.
Skeletech, you mean?
Yeah. He's still Skeletor.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe you watch the show this weekend so we can talk about it next time we do one of these guys.
Yeah.
But He-Man has that hair pulled back into like a ponytail. The top part and then the bottom part hanging free,
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm doing now on my side. I haven't given him any He-Man eyebrows, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now too. The funny thing is like the original cartoon, like his eyebrows, I think were like black. So it looks like he had a dye job almost.
Mm-hmm.
But they're real pointy, real not cartoony because it was a cartoon. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, which was extract, the mask it off and extract it that way. I think that's the workflow I enjoy the most, rather than sculpting them out with a Did it extract?
Do whatever makes you happy, as they say.
There we go. I kind of want to darken the eyebrows a little bit, but let me go to my reference here. Let me see what's going on. Talk about what you're doing with the gym when I'm looking.
Right now I'm just kind of trying to build up these forms. I kind of perhaps made it a little more difficult on myself than it needed to be by not making it all like one solid piece at the beginning. So I'm kind of having to try and make the lower jaw proportional to the upper skull now, and yeah, it's just it's chipping away at certain forms. You know, you were talking about like how much I use the move brush. Well, it's like generally, you know, I'll alternate between the move brush and the clay buildup to add or take away forms, and then once those forms are there or gone, then I'll go in with the move brush and just move them more closely to into place.
Right.
Which, yeah, it is in this case is a lot easier when you know you do it all as one solid piece at first.
Okay.
And one thing that I've like learned, especially about like when like making like bones or skulls, is sometimes not always like no like building up shapes in certain areas, but knowing how to and how much to take away from the shapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really started to learn this when I did like the demon goat skull.
Yeah.
Was that like
Now, was supposed to be a which the one for your Legion shop?
yeah, the one for
Okay.
Legion Shop. The one goat that I did for Legion Shop, you know, there are certain areas that are more hollowed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or more, they sink in more, and then like right next to it will be like a little section that just like comes out just a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're subtle, they're very like subtle uh forms that really I feel like make it more bony or give it that true bony feeling.
Yeah. I think you're oh no. Oh my goodness. I drew the eyes in without looking at the face, like
Mm-hmm.
the iris and the pupil and all that, and
Yeah.
he's looking cross-eyed right
Oh
now.
no.
Um,
Let's
all
see.
right, go back to what you were saying.
I mean that's essentially just kind of what I was saying. It's you know, it really is just kind of like a tug and pull type of game where you tug at certain forms and you pull them or push them kind of where you need them to be,
Right.
and then you know, with other areas you're just trying to get it just to be as accurate as possible.
Right. Gotcha.
You know, the it'd be kind of cool, and I could probably do that right now. Maybe like kind of like a similar way to like how his face looked in like the He-Man movie. right? With like Dolph Lundgren
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot. How like his face was a bit more fleshy.
Yeah.
Except instead of like, making it fleshy, just like make it kind of more robotic.
Yeah, that's fine.
I feel like now that I can see the bottom jaw, the lower jaw on it, I can see just kind of where I want to go with that.
Yeah, I got you. Ooh, do I attempt to show you my screen? That's the question. I'm gonna move these eyebrows a little bit. So definitely his eyebrows are darker than the hair. They're not black like the cartoon, the original cartoon was. But I mean, it's coming along. I don't want to say I won't turn it into something eventually, but it's definitely has its He-Man esque features to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see where you're at. Yeah, he's still not techie enough. I guess he is. You didn't get any plates on him yet.
Well, now I'm gonna go in here, flatten some of this out, make it more.
Yeah, just like that. Just like that, you tucked it up. You just got to take those planes and then flatten them.
Yeah. Just like that, he's all tucked up.
Tucked it up.
Did we post our link in the Cabal?
No.
Maybe that's why we don't have any viewers.
Well, that's the thing. It's just
right
like
now.
I don't know how much we want to push it there versus just see what we can come across with our Facebook and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's cool. I know it's cool to post the link in the Cabal. Everybody does it on their YouTube channel. So, and I just really, don't do that. I just don't know how everybody feels about it. So,
I mean, it didn't seem like anybody had a problem with it before, and we even got permissions to do so.
Yeah.
I don't really see why that would be a problem. Unless, somebody just decides to have a problem with it.
Right.
Which there are always those people, in the community that
in any community.
Really, that just decide to have a problem with something.
I post. I mean, whoever we have on our Instagram, other than it being, Cabal people or family members or whatever, like the links are out there. So we'll get people eventually. Like we said, we're just trying to figure this out, learn as we go, build some content.
Well, and yeah, again, just having fun with it.
I had this good shape in the chin, but from the side, it makes it look like almost saggy, like it's an older person's chin.
Mm-hmm.
And when I adjust the chin, it makes it look. Let me see if I do it like this. Pull that down a little bit.
Okay, it's like I got like a nice like blocked chin. Now let's see where I can go with it from here.
Where are we at on time? We got like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe I bring this.
Yeah, like that. It doesn't feel like trap jaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to attempt to share my screen in a minute. Get back on that. Yeah, it worked good for like 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not working
3
for you
weeks.
now.
All of a sudden, there's no screen to share.
Is that what it's telling you right now?
No. There it is. Okay. Well, there's my He-Man. If you can look on the screen and see it.
Let's see it. Hey, he's not looking bad.
Yeah. So the hair buns kind of draw size kind of come through like this on the top. Am I even selected on it? Come through like this on the top, and pull back into a ponytail over here, kind of deal.
Okay, nice.
These down here kind of swing down, and this needs remeshed, obviously, because that geometry is not something that I want to work with. So I'll go to geometry and Z remesher and hit remesh on the hair and see what it does. Turned it black for some reason. Does it change the material when it remeshes it?
No, so it's really kind of weird that.
All right, there's before remesh.
Does that? Because I've never known it to just like automatically like recolor it as soon as you remesh it.
Yeah, that's looking like what it did.
That's weird.
Now, when I maximize it, let me see if that froze it. Yep, froze mine again. Back to you, Tristen.
Back to you, Tom.
This is the Tristen show today.
Yeah, I just wish it. I could have been in like a better state for it to be.
So that eyeball you put in there, was that just a drag and drop thing? Something from the insert melting mesh?
No. So what I did was I just took like a radial symmetry. I just took the sphere, turned on radial symmetry, and just started like cutting in and pulling out or building up like some panels.
I got you.
Yeah. I just threw something quick on there. You just kind of show that it was like a robot eye.
Yeah, I gotcha. You need to drink some caffeine before these things, bud. All right. Well, my remesh worked. I changed the color back. I don't know why that happened, but I'm just sculpting in here now.
Okay. I kind of want to have like right now as I'm seeing it, like I could see it as being something like where his jaw is just kind of like attached to his like the top of his head, and he like maybe like he like talks through like some kind of like speaker box or something.
Yeah, okay.
But I want to add like this little like line here with bit of a design just to kind of still maintain a cool shape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what the heck? Oh, man. Okay. That's...
Another thing that I saw that they gave him was the little swoopy hairs like Superman has. So I'll go through with the snake curve and see if I can just I have to activate it with Sculptress Pro. But just he took the we're going to take symmetry off of that. Oh. Snake curve. Snake hook is what I was looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
We got dead air. We got to start talking more. Are you thinking hard? What are you doing over there?
I mean, I'm just concentrating. See, I think the thing is like, you know, a lot of people when they stream, you know, sometimes they don't always have things to say.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of streamers who aren't talking 100% of the time, because I don't think you can just talk 100% of the time.
Yeah, 2 hours. I can talk for 2 hours. What do you like about Merman so much? Why would you want to do Merman?
I mean, you know, because he's a fishman, and I like fishmen. They remind me of you know, I'm really into like Lovecraft and like cosmic horror stuff, and the majority of that is based around like, you know, uh like horror, like sea creatures. It is like a large portion of what you see in like the mythos is like things that came from the sea, right? But also from outer space. It's kind of weird. But that, and then the creature from the Black Lagoon. Those things are like really big inspirations for me, and Merman just kind of seems like the perfect subject for all of that.
You also have Clawful. Clawful has a big claw. I don't know if he feels as fishy, as gilly as Merman would be.
I'm not as familiar with that one.
Yeah, he just has a big crab claw. He just has a big crab claw. Well, I gave him this little Superman curly Q. I don't even know if I want to switch back to mine before we do the end. We got 4 minutes, so I'll try to give him a little ponytail because I think he had a ponytail at the end. I'll just append another sphere.
And in this last couple of minutes, I'm just gonna kind of fill in where I was going or what I was thinking. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's looking better now that you teched it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of.
I'd like to have his eye glowing, but you really can't do that in ZBrush.
Yeah, well, you can now. Like with the current version of ZBrush, they do have emission
materials.
Like they have emission functions, but I've never really messed with that. That's all a part of like the Maxon Redshift renderer type deal that they added in.
You know way more about all that stuff than I do.
Not that much, really, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, like I haven't really followed ZBrush stuff like you have. So
yeah,
like I was stuck on 4R7 forever, and you're on to 2022 and 3. 2022 and 3. So I do have a newer version now, since you've shared that your older version. Now, was that the older version you shared with me, or is that
was the last version before the one that I'm currently using?
So I have your old license, and then you got a new license.
Yeah.
Okay. And originally you were using my license until they switched over, right?
Mm-hmm. Move it 50%. Yeah, well, here he is. Pretty much. I didn't really get to do much of the things I had originally thought I was gonna do it, but
right.
I think he looks alright.
Yeah, it's a good start.
I think he looks pretty cool.
A good solid 2 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
Let me go over to mine. Tell me. Let me comment on yours. Let me minimize my screen. So I think you need to add trim around it, rotate it a little bit. On your
like end. Trim around the hood.
Yeah, you definitely need to trim up the hood.
Yeah,
I like to see like almost cybernetic symbols on the hood, whether they be black or purple, a lot of purple.
Yeah, I thought about doing a little bit of that as well.
And with the upper jaw, how it turns into the cheek, I think you could stand to do maybe a little cables down that area, maybe connecting the two, almost like the cables would be.
Maybe I could do that to
like tendons, almost connecting it.
Yeah, maybe have like wires connecting from like the lower jaw to the top, to the upper jaw.
I think you can even make the one eyebrow on the opposite side of the tubes a plate, like a plate to go over that.
Yeah, I thought about kind of doing that too. It's kind of why I separated that like
Yeah.
that.
So, and I think it'd be cool to have an antenna coming out of maybe the side of his head, and then up like an L-shaped antenna
Yeah.
coming through the
That kind of, I
hole.
feel like that kind of conflicts with the hood though.
You cut the hole in the hood. Like if you had a hood and you needed it to come out, you could have somebody sew a hole in the hood. All right. Anyway, we'll go back to my He-Man at the end here. I think we've just hit 2:00. So
Yeah, we did.
Let me share screen, share the window, share it. Is he on there now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I darkened the eyebrows because it seemed like that was the color. I gave him a little swoop in the hair. I gave him a little ponytail. I might do a little knot or something there. I'd render out the hair more, put more definition into the ears here. I would, just tighten up all the features. They're all a little soft. A lot of times what my complaint is when I see ZBrush sculpts is exactly that. Like these ears are soft. So I think that I would never like print out a sculpt or say a sculpt's done until I tighten that up. And the same thing around the eyes here. That's all a little soft. If you're going for a cartoony look, that would work. The cheekbone right here, is my cursor on it on screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So like this is the part I feel that makes He-Man look like He-Man is this area right here. I think this thicker jaw right here makes it look like He-Man, and these things here and here make it look like He-Man.
I feel like his chin is still a little too rounded, perhaps.
Yeah, it might be, it might not be. I'm just kind of like figuring it out. So if you look at like the cartoon, I think I was looking at the cartoon when I was trying to do that part right there. So it's just He-Man doesn't look any certain way. So it's just kind of getting something together and printing it out, see if it works. Like if I don't want this guy to be He-Man, like I got cool hair, that I've started, so we could finish that up and slap it on anything, mess with the proportions a little bit. He's just a bald faced guy with hair right now. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you could throw a beard on him. You could do, any number of things. But I mean, if you look at it, hopefully someone say, "Oh, that looks like a He-Man head." You know what I mean? And they look at yours and I'm like, "Oh, that looks like a Skeletor head." So I think we've accomplished. What we
the goal of at least making these characters.
Right. So, thanks for doing this again with me, Tristen.
Absolutely.
And hopefully next week we'll maybe not do He-Man again. Maybe we won't do it too many times in a row. We'll figure out something.
Maybe mix it up a little bit. Mix it up with some just like more original ideas or
original fantasy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks for stopping by. Whoever catches this on replay, and we'll be back next week on Saturday at noon. Thanks.
See you guys.